It's not like you're just collecting properties left and right and able to cash them in. All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Today, I'm right here at a park. Decided to come out here, get a breath of fresh air. It's always good to reconnect with yourself, especially on a Saturday afternoon. Got a chance to be able to take a little bit of time off, come out, enjoy the sun, and take advantage of the nice weather we have here. So anyways, if some of you have seen the video that I did last week regarding properties and the step up in basis, I gave a little bit of an explanation on that. In inherited properties, we are in a time right now where there's a lot of people that are inheriting properties, especially because as the older generation continues to pass away, a lot of people in their 50s and 40s are inheriting property at the moment, and I have been a witness of that. These past couple years, I have gotten a lot of clients that have inherited property. So I wanted to give a little bit of a rundown of what I have seen, the pitfalls of inheriting property, and what you can do to be able to protect yourself in some of these situations. Now, a lot of people, they automatically think that when they inherit the property, then everything is going to be run real smooth. You're going to get the property and you're going to be able to either sell it or rent it or cash out and move on. But in most cases, inheriting property could become a financial nightmare, especially if you as the person who inherit the property do not have the assets to be able to continue to maintain the property. If you do inherit it and you don't inherit cash, then you could have a hard time. So there have been instances where I have had clients that maybe when they do inherit it, maybe there's unpaid property taxes, maybe there's judgments that they're not aware of, or undisclosed liens. So the first thing that you should do, that I recommend, I think it's a good idea for you to do, is to be able to run a title search to make sure that that property does not have any type of, like I said, unpaid property taxes or liens against the property, because that could also cause stress for the people inheriting it, where they have to come out with money out of their own pocket to be able to bring that up to date. The fact that sometimes people do inherit property that has deferred maintenance as well, and that could happen because maybe the person or people that were living in that property, maybe they just didn't have the assets or the cash to be able to bring that property up to date. So another thing that people do run into when they do inherit property is the fact that maybe the parents, they had a reverse mortgage. That's a very popular option right now for a lot of people that are older, and they run into situations where maybe they can't make ends meet, because as we all know, inflation has just ravaged the American household, and the amount of money, how far it will go. So a lot of people, they live on a limited income with Social Security or pensions, and maybe it's not enough to be able to cover all their expenses, especially if you have to pay health insurance or medical expenses, prescriptions, doctor visits, dental visits, and so forth. So a lot of the times people do end up running into the situation where the only way that they're able to access cash is to be able to run a reverse mortgage through a property. So what that ends up happening, little by little, that starts eating away at the potential equity that the people who will inherit the property get. And if that runs for several years, it could get to the point with how expensive reverse mortgages are, it could get to the point where eventually that equity will be eaten up. So when the people who inherit the property, when they go and see how much equity they have after the reverse mortgage is paid off, maybe they will not walk away with anything. So that's actually very common right now. I know several people that have reverse mortgages, and the heirs, the people who will eventually inherit that property, better hope to God that they themselves are in a good financial situation, because they should not expect for that property to be able to be their saving grace in the future. That's one of the things that I do recommend that you look out for. Now, another thing that can happen when you do inherit property is that you may not be the only one inheriting it. Sometimes it will be several siblings, and sometimes it'll even get more complex, where maybe it could be inherited property where maybe the two parents that owned it maybe one of them was married before, and so this was their second marriage, and maybe the property was owned by one of the parents, and maybe the siblings may be because they had different parents. So it can get very, very complex, and it's very important for all of these people to be well prepared. If they have to put the properties in trusts, that's highly recommended, because they could run into a lot of issues when it comes to whether or not maybe some siblings want to sell it, some of them may want to rent it. Like I said, this could be a very, very complex situation. That's why it's highly recommended that if that does happen, that you be able to seek legal counsel and to be able to find individuals that know what they're doing to be able to guide you through that process, because it can become a nightmare. And to access the funds on these types of properties sometimes can be very difficult, especially if the property has to go through probate. Then even then, that could be even more headaches, because at that point you will have to wait longer to be able to have access to that property. And not only that, but when that happens, if you are in a state like California, you will have to pay fees to be able to get access to that property. So those are the consequences for not being prepared when it comes to having your heirs inherit property. So those are the things that I wanted to cover today. I have, like I said, I have several clients over the years that I've ran into that have had these types of situations. That is why I wanted to make this video today, to be able to show you guys that these are real life situations. These things can happen. Some of these situations can take months or even years to be able to settle. I had a client not too long ago that inherited property. It took over 20 years to be able to finally sell the property, because a lot of things went on throughout the years. At first, they inherited the property. The property had a lot of deferred maintenance. There was not enough money. The people who inherited the property did not have enough money to bring it up to date. Then one of the family members ended up living on that property with all that deferred maintenance, rent-free, and then COVID happened. So all of this can stretch out the amount of time to be able to actually sell the property. Things like that do happen. And then, like I said, you do have stress when it's several people inheriting it. That's why it's very important for people who do own property to be able to run through all of the different scenarios of what can happen, because you don't want to leave this stress to the people who will be getting your property. One of the things that I would like to see is if any of you have any nightmare stories, please leave them in the comments below. I would like to hear what people have to say, different scenarios that they've ran into, especially because this is a very popular topic and a lot of people are going to be running into the situation going forward. Continue to watch my content. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't had to. I know there's a lot of people out there that still to this date have not subscribed to my channel. So all you have to do is click subscribe. That way you'll be able to get access to notifications as soon as my new videos come out. Right now, I've been very, very busy with a lot of people that are very behind on their tax returns. Most of the clients that I'm helping out right now have several years of tax returns they have not prepared. So usually each client that I bring on right now usually has 2 to 3 years that we have to help them, not only with the accounting, not only with the taxes, but making sure that they don't fall behind in the future. So like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and try to post as much content as I can. I will be leaving to Alabama soon here with JB in a couple days. Time flies. So continue to watch my videos and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. This place is called Miss Tacos. It's located inside a park. These are the 2 tacos. Carne asada tacos. They really pack them. Second taco.